What's going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Zach.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. They say you can't choose your family. Well, you also can't choose which era of music you grew up in. This is a weekly show where we discuss our favorite bands from adolescence and how they continue to shape our lives today. Each week, we'll head back to the early 2000s and take a closer look at the cards we were dealt.
Tom, it's a cold brew morning. It's a cold brew morning.
For who? For you? For everyone? What's the deal?
For me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have the day off. It's a weekday. Tom and I are a week removed from seeing each other on our jaunt to Western New York and then Erie, PA. And we have some, not takes, but some reflections. Any thoughts from last week's episode? Matt tweeted some rave reviews about last week's first road trip episode. What say you, Tom?
Yeah, I was nervous about that episode, man. We had no plan. It went so quickly from me trying to talk about a schedule to just munching into the microphone.
Yeah, we tried to have some structure, but it got goofy immediately, which is very...
So I was a little nervous. I'm glad that they liked it because that's obviously what's most important. Their opinion and theirs alone.
Well, it's weird because Matt has been there since day one. So I'm like, does he even like the show anymore? Now that we talk about music, when he was vibing with us for like 100 whole episodes. Right. So it's like, should we just go back and just have more fun with what Matt had enjoyed to begin with? So who's to say? This is going to be kind of a hybrid episode. You wanted to talk a little bit about last weekend, where your head's at. You're home alone for a couple days. Mostly this is, I'm checking in with you, man. What's going on? How's it going? How's Levi?
Oh, it's been okay. Yeah, I'm going to be alone for a couple weeks. My wife is in Sweden doing some classes out there. Up there. Kind of we've talked about it before. When the wives are away, my sanity follows suit. I feel like I break down. I don't know who I am on my own. It's weird.
Would you say you do well?
No. I'm losing it, dude. But I'm going to be in California with my sister this weekend. By the time this episode airs, I will be there. And yeah, it's been super weird going from like seeing people I haven't seen in 10 years to my wife being gone. Yeah, my sister's turning 30. The passage of time is slowly
creeping. Oh, so you're just going out there for her birthday?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be good. I mean, it's been weird. How did you feel about the reunion? Did it go as you expected? How were the feelings, the vibes? Good to be there, good to be with everyone? Or...
It would have been more fun if Tom had attended. My good friend Tom hadn't even gone to the damn thing.
Yeah, we kind of left last week on kind of a cliffhanger, right? Am I going to go? Am I not? And last minute, I decided, F that noise, I'm going to hang out with my dad.
Which is not a bad thing to do.
It was a great move on my part, I do believe. But let's hear about it. I mean, we can talk about the whole weekend.
To talk about, so we spent the first night at the farmhouse.
Yes.
And it was raining, but we stayed out by the fire all night anyway.
we kept thinking, oh, it'll pass any minute.
It'll pass.
And then we just sat in the rain for an hour.
Just soaked. And yeah, at the breakfast table, your dad threw down a magazine. He's like, climate change, guys. This is MIT. This is like, I want to talk to you guys about this. And we're all like, I think we're on board. We get it. It's just like, he came armed, ready to like lay some knowledge down. And we're all like, no, we're living in it. Like, we don't, our children will be impacted heavily by, this one way or another. So no, we're good. He's like, no, this is MIT. Like I feel like he had done that spiel with, perhaps an older audience before and had to do some convincing, but it was a much shorter version than how that usually goes. It felt like. Did you have any thoughts about that?
Well, I'm currently sitting with that magazine right next to me.
He made you go home with it?
He's like, no, this isn't just your crazy old man. This is MIT. It's like, yeah, Dad. Actually, the funniest part, though, is how quickly the script flipped on me. On that flight back, I was sitting next to this 21-year-old girl who's her phone was broken, so she was just like looking to entertain herself. Just so she started talking to me, and she's like, my grandpa, I remember how much W she put in that. My grandpa just told me about climate change. I was like, well, I had this magazine, you see. Like,
It's from MIT.
it's MIT, right? Not just some crazy guy in a plane.
Johnny Knoxville's next movie, the sequel to Bad Grandpa, Woke Grandpa. He just goes around bugging people about how Miami's going to go underwater by 2022 or something. Or 2122.
Oh, boy.
Hey, boy. No, the reunion was good. I mean, Zach chopped some wood. Zach was on the episode last week. That was fun. He's figuring it out up there in the Great White North of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'll stop playing with masking tape as I speak.
I was just about to say
I know. I could feel it through the microphone. Although the room's empty because we're moving. So I'm like trying to talk like this and do other things to make my voice sound a little better or a little weirder. Just to get it clear for the people who enjoyed the chip crunching ASMR stuff before from last week. I wonder if it's going to translate. No. It was good. I mean, I took tickets with Aaron, our buddy Aaron, at the door for the first hour. And then the second hour, I talked to Mr. Taylor, the student senate advisor, and got like a ton of closure on the whole impeachment stuff. And then I left. I didn't talk to pretty much anybody. Abby came over and was like, you going to join the party? And Sean Walters was like, so you guys just have to take tickets the whole time? And Aaron was like, dude, you should go talk to people. And I was like, I don't know. I'm good. Kind of got a little taste at the door, checking everybody in. Hey. I got Raymond Zellick's. I'll probably got his last name wrong now this time. But he like shaved his head, so I didn't have any hair to like help my memory. He was the first group in the door with Jocelyn and Carolyn Zaffino. And I was like, oh, man. It's like, Jonathan? It's like, Raymond? Like I had looked at the yearbook for like an hour beforehand trying to prepare. Sounds like everybody was doing a lot of that. But you were saying it was interesting how it seemed like everybody had the same weird nervous energy heading into it, which to me is understandable, and which is why I was trying to get you to, well, I want you to spend time with your dad too, so I didn't really give a shit what you did, but I was hoping you weren't just going to see your dad because you didn't want to go to the reunion. I hope you went because you wanted to hang out with your pops, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, it was like everybody was nervous and it was all in the same boat. Although with that said, none of your pals really were there, like Seth and Cameron and all them, so you're kind of Ryan Zimmerman.
Yeah, so we went to a Seawolves game the day before, which I have quite a bit of footage of, was vlogging a little bit. And yeah, Aaron showed up. We were there, Yumi and Zach. And then Abby Bowler and her boyfriend, Joe, showed up. And it was just nice to talk, right? We had a good time. Then we went out to...
Yeah, Joe is a delightful human being.
He's awesome. I f***ing love that.
He was not only friendly the whole time, but even when we got into our... Like, we used to play Flip Cup at a funeral home in Erie. That was like our party place. And we put the teams back to how they used to be. And he was even surviving the high school bullshit as we all like kind of devolved back into our 17-year-old versions of ourselves. So, and he was just still friendly the whole time.
We went out to Plymouth after the ball game. Well, we went to
Plymouth is like the Thanksgiving bar. Every town has a Thanksgiving bar where it's the bar you go to when you're in college or an adult, young adult, and you know that's where people are, kind of, right?
Sure.
The night before Thanksgiving,
a bunch of friends showed up and got to see, quite a few people. And like for me, that was good. That's all I needed, right? I saw Doug. And the thing that was really fascinating to me is Doug was always like a really cool guy in high school. He is an insanely attractive dude, would never have anything to worry about. And he was even
super symmetrical.
And he, admitted to the group, like, I've got a lot of anxiety about tomorrow. And I was like, oh, that made me feel a little better because, he wasn't like this. I wouldn't call myself a weirdo outcast, but that's definitely how I felt through high school. So I was like, all right, if the hot, cool kids are feeling anxious, it's okay for me to feel that way. So, yeah, we hung out, went to a comedy show, saw some kids we went to high school with. The guy who bullied me the most was doing his stand-up routine. And
yeah, they had a stand-up show at the Avalon, which is like this trashy downtown Erie hotel that used to be decently nice, Zach's mom said. But anyway, it was interesting.
Yeah, so like it was weird to just like, all right, it's been 10 years. This guy who bullied me, I'm just going to go say, hey. And he was still like super awkward and like wouldn't make eye contact. And it was like... all right, if this is going to be how like tomorrow is with people just haven't changed at all, then fuck it. I miss my dad already. I'm going to go back and see him. And that's kind of just like how it was. You know, we went to Jake's house, had some burgers beforehand, saw Sam, who I didn't see the night before. And that was like, all right, I know Cameron and Seth aren't going. That's everyone I really, not, I don't want to say cared about because that sounds really rude, but
I would say you missed out on the group photo, which was actually kind of fun just to kind of see all those people and kind of the surprises. You know, there's like some legitimate, I think, if you people who have either gotten larger or smaller, I guess, or aged a certain way or not, or Raymond throwing me off with his shaved head. I was like, you got me. I couldn't remember that name for the life of me. The group photo was interesting. We went, and Sam, who's a really good guitarist, and Jake, who's a top-notch bassist as well, some like drummer singer dude was doing a set at the Tipsy Bean, I guess, which is this new like coffee shop that serves cocktails near that Grasshopper shop that as a kid you always like, the rumor was they sold weed there down by Forward Hall, you know, by the high school. But we all got kind of some coffee and maybe a beer or two. And they played a really good set actually, because they're all talented musicians. The drummer had this beautiful voice. He was covering like Gary Clark and stuff, but Gary Clark Jr., I should say. But so that was nice. Then we pretty much just went back to Jacobs and continued to just become our 17-year-old versions of ourselves again. We played F, Marry, Kill for like a long time with members of the class for sure. That was entertaining. And I, for some reason, at night, as I had already taken Uber back from Jake's house before, and the Erie Uber scene is pretty bleak. And the guy on Thursday night, or Friday night into Saturday morning was like, yeah, you know, it's either me or this other lady, and she has a tendency to OD on her trips at this hour of the night. So, like, terrifying. Like, it's three things. It's both funny and terrifying, and thirdly, a slice of the real opioid epidemic occurring. You know what I mean? Like, she has multiple reviews of like her, like just people trying to grab the wheel from her, and she's like, I'm not gonna, you know, just very dangerous. So I was like, I'm glad I got you, buddy. I'll tip you a couple extra bucks for not injecting yourself with stuff on the ride home. That's good. So like anyway, that's
Erie in the entire Midwest in one sentence. Yeah, the other Uber driver.
Yeah, the other 4 a.m. Uber driver. I'm like, well, you honestly have been nice to me, and thanks again for the not heroining it up. The next night, I hopped in with Joe and Abby, and then went to like 8th and whatever. He lives near Gannon. Abby's dad does. I was like, oh, that'll get me close. And it was still 4 miles from my house in Lawrence Park, and Abby's dad and my mom, and nobody was super thrilled that I walked in the pouring rain along East 6th for like 4 miles. There was like a car in a storefront or something like that. From what I can remember, again, we had been, enjoying ourselves that evening. I just was trying to, nothing happened. It was fine. But there was a couple of stretches where I probably looked like an insane druggie because I was just stumbling with my, hood up in the rain with no raincoat, just like sneakers and just like, I don't know, just like, they were like looking at me like, you okay, man? Like, but they were avoiding me because I looked so unstable, so wildly unstable, just soaked after walking from the other side of Erie itself, the city, like city limit to city limit. So I scared the hell out of my mom. She was up watching TV for some reason, but I talked to her and Jay for a little while at like 5 a.m. because they were up for the day. So that was fun. But
dude, your parents, like, I could sit and talk with them for like weeks. I feel like they were hilarious. And oh my God, I do not remember your parents being that incredible. Like, and obviously they're fucking cool, but like, I don't know if it's like as you get older, you start to appreciate like the weird conversations.
To be honest, they're the first 2 like road comics I'd ever seen in real life. I think I've come to realize because they do kind of hone their stories from different groups and trying to pick what works out of it. And then the story ends up being a bit or a routine instead of the story itself, which My mom definitely editorialized the most with my role in each story I found over the years. Like, it just ended up being stories about me that weren't true, but were hilarious, but directly at my expense. But plus, John's out of the house and we all have jobs and like grew up, and their like parenting duties are still in play, but not like they were when we were all single digits, right? So Mary's letting it fly a little bit in her old age. Not that she like swears like a sailor or anything, but she is definitely shooting from the hip a little more. So she's earned it for sure. She put in her time. And yeah, I got a little bit of sleep, maybe 2 hours, and then you guys came back from Western New York and scooped me, and we went back.
Yeah, the drive from Erie to Cincy is actually pretty nice. I did most of it on the way back. You did the whole thing on the way to Erie, and just pleasant, man. Overall, really nice.
We caught some good stretches. 71 has because you have to go through 3 major metropolitan areas, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. It's either like crazy metropolitan area interstate madness, or you're not in an area where you could find help if you needed it, like where the hell is real sign is and stuff in between Cincinnati and Columbus. So it's an interesting drive, and it's 3 lanes the whole way, and no one has an understanding of what lane is meant for what. 2 lanes, it's easy. You pass on the left, but 3, I've been honked at in every single lane on that highway. So your guess is as good as mine. It's so confusing, but it was nice to get a glimpse of the lake. It is oddly therapeutic. As someone who grew up next to it, you can have a sense of, it legitimately is north of the cities from a directional sense, geographic sense, but also, it was high. That was kind of the talk amongst the small talk with the parents that we saw that weekend, was that the peninsula was almost the roads on the state park that jets from Erie out into the lake. It's like this little peninsula that has beaches on the northwestern side of it that, people drive up from Pittsburgh sometimes to go visit and things like that. It's our state park basically, but apparently the water is freaky high, and the erosion along the lakeshore has been pretty wild this last couple months. Did you have any thoughts? Because we were going to explore when we were at your dad's house, but it was up to the steps.
Yeah, so we were talking about going in total darkness the night we arrived, and my dad was like, yeah, it's pretty high, I don't think you want to go down there. And we were like, oh, we can handle it, Dad. But we ended up not doing it, so we went the next morning, and the water, like, there was no beach. It was probably 8 feet higher than it usually was, and I've never seen a single wave on that lake. But like, this thing could have killed all of us, like, in a second if
you slid down into the, like, was it the shelf thing?
Yeah.
That like usually is harmless steps down onto some sand when the lake's at a normal level. But this was whipping around. It could have had we gone down at night, I don't know. I've never seen, or it would have been a bad water situation. I'm trying to think of any like sea book that I've ever encountered. Like, I remember that thing when the story about the water in the boat where when the water did bad things to the character in it. But my mind is drawing a blank. So
yeah, one of us would be dead, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. The water death. We should write a book, The Water Death, and then we could have our own.
I started filtering through all the footage that I got over the weekend, and there's like 20 minutes in there that I'm going to hopefully cut together on the trip to California. So there's some good shots of the water, waves crashing over Zach talking about how you could build concrete with a handful of mud he was holding. Just good stuff. Really, really good stuff, man. It was a good weekend. I'm glad I didn't go because, a picture is cool and seeing people is cool, but seeing my dad's the coolest. So I have no regrets.
Yeah, I could have seen my parents a little more, but I'll be back up there after the 4th of July. My sister and brother are going to be in Erie, so I'm going to zip up before Jesse and I go to wherever we're going to go next. We're going to be in an Airbnb for a month because our landlords stayed true to the lease and wouldn't let us extend a little bit, which is what we signed up for. So I'm not like super upset, but it would have been much easier if it had gone the other way.
Sure. Yeah.
We put ourselves in a position to, whatever. It's on us at the end of the day. So we kind of, it's a weird sensation having to like get everything into the pod and then have a month still in the place you packed everything kind of. So, but I'm going to make a goodwill run after recording this. I had the day off. I ended up working Saturday night and Sunday morning because there was like this freaky vacation / sick situation at work. So they were like, so I know you're already working Sunday morning, but we actually don't have any more beating hearts to just sit in the chair that we need you to sit in. So if you could, that would be a good thing for, it's like, yeah, Jessie was not pleased. It was the first time she ever she was just like she wasn't mad at me, but she was just like, I don't know, I want to like she wanted to hang out. And it was like the sweetest thing ever. I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Like it was like this stressful situation, but it was like only because I wanted to get dinner with my wife. And it is kind of crazy to work 8 days in a row. By last night, by the end of the 8th day, my brain was like trying to work its way out of my skull. It was like, please stop making me focus on things. But I could see how people like, I don't know, having a dog, I feel like is kind of training for kids, like just like level 1 out of like 1,000. I'm not trying to compare the two, but like a little bit of responsibility, right? But I could picture the worst mood your dad's ever been in. And the way my brain was last night, had I been tasked with anything other than urinating and falling into bed, then I would have been more than unpleasant about it, I'm sure. So anyway, those inspirational Instagram accounts are always like practice patience and all those like affirmation shit, but it's like last night I definitely would not have been about the affirmation life.
I had to do a 5-minute meditation to talk me off the ledge last night.
Yeah, you've been in a weird headspace, and I don't necessarily want to force you at gunpoint to talk about it, but you've had we can edit this out, of course, but a rough week. Is that fair to say? A week that is below average in terms of things you normally would enjoy or like to have happen?
Right. I mean, details are not something I can get into, unfortunately, because it doesn't really involve me, so it's not my place to talk. But yeah, Megan went to Sweden and then like everything fell apart. I feel like so now like we're both dealing with our own individual stuff, but we're not actually able to talk to each other. My wife's mom is trying to get involved and she's calling me all the time like, what the f***?
Well, it's one of those things, it sounds like, where you haven't been married long enough for everything to be like you're still kind of separate entities in the eyes of like banks and the government still, right. Kind of. And her also being in a country where the phone plans might not totally allow you to just call each other up, right? So it's kind of like, cool. So there's a ton of red tape and would be difficult if we were in the same, continental United States area. But and she was delayed a bunch. It's just been a weirdly
week. It took her like 60 hours or some to get to Sweden.
Which is many hours. That's too many. It's a lot.
An absolute nightmare. It was delayed 3 times leaving. And then she got stuck in Boston for like 36 hours. And then
Which is just the worst. Right? Beantown? Get out of here. What are you doing? Huh?
So then it got canceled, then delayed 3 more times, and then canceled again. Then her flight to Sweden. Like it was an absolute nightmare. And all this stuff was happening as she was like about to board plane. So she couldn't it's been so bad, dude. But it's going to be fine. I'm going to be in California soon, still relishing the weekend we had together. And in theme of the show, we're not really talking about music too much, so let's try to get into that a little bit. Taking it back to high school days, you suggested we talk about, like, if we had a high school dance, what songs would we like to hear? Was that kind of the vibe? Or
no, not at all. No. You have been misunderstanding this. You were like, hey, you want to talk about the reunion? I was like, yeah. I was like, what's a random music thing we could try to tie in? Like, what if there were a playlist for the reunion? Like, what would be on it? Like, if you asked Alexa what songs were popular in 2008, basically, and you were like, you seem to not. Some popular 2008 songs by Amazon. Oh, It's Your Life by Francesca Battistelli, which had 17,907. Hey, Alexa, could you keep it down, please? Hey, Alexa, please turn the music off.
You gotta say stop.
I don't want to be rude. I don't know. When the takeover comes, I don't know. The first one sounded too snarky, so I wanted to say it again. A little more nice tone. You never want to show snark to the bots. You were very worried. You texted me a lot about this, and I was like, we don't have to do it at all. I mean, I'm just going to reference T-Pain, and that's pretty much what I wanted out of this exercise.
So I guess I was telling you I need a story. I need a mindset to be in. So I was thinking if we were at a semi-formal, because we did not have proms, because we didn't have sports, we were an academic-only nerd school, like what would be like the bangers that come on that everyone just wants to shake their junk to? And I was assuming those songs would also be the ones that encapsulated our time in high school to play at the reunion. So that's where my mind was going. I was going to semi-formal.
Paralyzer by Finger 11 on repeat for an hour and a half.
Well, I've got some good ones. They mainly
seem to be struck by you.
They mainly fit between the years 2004 and 2007, or 2008, which is kind of the vibe. So I have 5 and a few honorable mentions. This isn't a formal draft, but
Bubbly by Colby Calais on repeat for an hour and a half.
I would not complain about that one.
You know what? Me neither. If I'm just being. Oh, Grace Kelly by Mika came out in 2007.
Hey-o.
I want to be like Grace Kelly.
All right, so we're formulating the perfect playlist for our reunion based on songs that were bangers in the years we were in high school.
But much less pressure than, yes.
But much less pressure.
Yes, this is meant to be fun.
I feel an unbearable amount of pressure,
You
so
do.
let's get
and
it over.
I wanted to not do the segment because I'm worried about you, but
Let's do it. Let's
okay.
do it. Start us off.
Alrighty. I'm going to say that Buy You a Drink by T-Pain would have been one of the key dance songs. I think either that or Crank That, in parentheses, Soulja Boy by Soulja Boy. Those, T-Pain was having a moment. The Soulja Boy dance, it was definitely the dance of our high school, I would have to say. Right? Beautiful Girls, Sean Kingston. Right? That was a big summer song.
Oh, you got to slow down. You're just going through them.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Let's go one for one.
Okay. Give me what you got.
All right. I had Beautiful Girls by Sean Kingston.
How could you not have Beautiful Girls by Sean Kingston?
You
put me in denial when you say it's over.
Sure,
According
in
to
denial.
the,
We'll go with that, right?
What do they call those? The edited version?
Yeah. Yeah, that was I totally forgot about that song, but looking back, that song rips. And
it does.
It makes me think of Green Garden Boulevard driving home for some reason. I don't know if it was on the radio one day, but it was the first time I heard In Denial rather than the original version. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know if I like it as much, but I get it.
Right. I'm going to say The Way I Are by Timbaland. That was a moment for Timbaland. Weezer even referenced Timbaland in their Red album because of the moment he was having.
Oh. I'm unfamiliar. Can you sing me a verse or two?
Oh, let's see. You know what? Let me look at the lyrics, actually. I mean, no. I mean, the answer is really no, but...
I also had Crank That Soulja Boy.
Okay, so I stole yours immediately out of the gate when I named 3 in a row, obeying 0 rules that we had for any previous drafts or anything of the sort.
So... I didn't like that song at all.
Oh,
but...
Baby, if you strip, you can get a tip because I like it just the way you are.
Oh, damn.
Ringing any bells?
Sexual. Not at all.
I don't need the G's or the car keys, boy. I like you just the way you are. Nothing? Okay, never mind.
Nothing. Yeah, this was not my... Oh, shit. It was 2007. I was listening to, unfortunately, Attack at the time. So I do not connect deeply with many
So this
of these
was
songs.
the stretch of time where you wouldn't have considered yourself a hip-hop head?
Right, just this one small amount of time.
Which has lasted 29 years, roughly.
No, the hip-hop that I ended up liking came way before I was around. So,
Can I say 2 real quick that probably just were... I mean, that one T.I. album with Live Your Life and Whatever You Like, it was at all the dances. That out.
Well, let me tell my Soulja Boy story because this is very important to me.
Does it have to do with the lion suit?
No.
Oh, did you do that? Is that well, we did the High School Musical dance, but did we also crank the Soulja Boy while you were the mascot? Have you even revealed to the audience that you were the lion mascot for the academic decathlon pep rallies?
I totally forgot. I know at one point I pretended to, like I knew how to do a breakdancing move, and I, very limited visibility in this huge lion head. And when I stopped spinning around, I lifted my head up and the nose went right into the crotch of one of our female teachers. And it was like... So weird, man. So weird. But no, the Soldier Boy thing. So I did a driver's ed course. Ryan Zimmerman and I both did it together because you could get like 15% off your car insurance or something if you did it, which I still think I get like 12 years later. But there was a girl, her name was Rebecca. She was from Mercyhurst, and she was definitely the little cutie in that class. And at some point, I don't know, I overheard her saying something about like a Soldier Boy dance. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get her to teach me this dance so I can dance with her. And it was funny because I learned the dance the day before and I was like, hey, you want to teach me that dance? And then we did it just so I didn't look like an idiot going into it. But anyway, trying to talk to a little cutie. That's my...
It involves acts of musical... You told the story not so long ago about trying to play drums, a full song's worth of drums for a girl. What had to have been fewer than 5 years before this moment as well. So when you swing big, it sounds like. And I got to respect the cojones involved.
So bad.
I disagree. I'm glad. I mean, you have not had you've had some lovely female companions in your time. I feel like to say it, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I wouldn't be ashamed of trying to dance. Dancing's like the greatest.
After the driver's ed class in your high
That's
school.
That's my friggin' Instagram affirmation. It's all going to be dancing related. Like, why don't you just dance as if, dance like ... everyone's watching. Don't be ashamed.
So woke.
Woke grandpa liked your Instagram.
What are your others here?
Okay. I have a couple. I'm realizing now that Gaga, Just Dance, kind of the start of her rapid ascension. If I Were a Boy by Beyonce, Halo, that album was wild. Definitely at our like senior camp out was a major, getting a lot of plays. The Ting Ting, Shut Up and Let Me Go, that Apple commercial kind of launched them into the friggin' stratosphere. Kings of Leon bursting onto the scene with Sex Is on Fire, right? So we're seeing the birth of Ray J, Sexy Can I? I know everyone thinks of the melody as soon as you say that out loud. Beyonce, Single Ladies. So Beyonce was like, it wasn't like there was the first album after she was with Destiny's Child, had just left. And then this was kind of like, yeah, I'm fucking Beyonce. So this is just how it's going to be for a little while, which I'm glad we were in. Pocket Full of Sunshine by Natasha Bedingfield. Not the best song, but the other song that was was probably the main reason I watched so many episodes of The Hills in succession one day while I was sick from school. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch The Price is Right today. I'm going to flip the channels. And they were having a The Hills marathon on MTV2 or something, which is like the summer before I left for college. My family decided to get cable. So I was like just soaking in all the cable I could. And every time I wanted to flip, when an episode was over, like, this is kind of silly, that theme song would get me in. The rest is still unwritten, Tom. Truer words, never spoken, never sang.
All right, so we're going more than 5 each,
one more,
which is fine.
And I'm going to keep going as I Google because this is bringing me back, and this is fun. And also we can stop. I don't know if it makes for good or bad radio, but the Three Doors Down, they were not technically dead yet. I don't know if they had done that goofy National Guard commercial that played at those budget movie theaters throughout the early the aughts or whatever. They had not, I don't know if they recorded Citizen Soldier at this point, but It's Not My Time came out in 2008. So they were still going for it. They were still pumping it out, which I guess credit for trying, I guess. I don't know. I know you have hot Three Doors Down takes, so I was trying to goad you into revealing those to the world.
The other ones that I have on here that I would love to hear, this is a little early, but In the Club by 50 Cent was definitely a banger. I think that was closer to 7th or 8th grade, but I think it carried on. It was a legacy song at that point. Crazy in Love by Beyonce will always be a banger to me. It was like my dad's favorite song at the time. And I remember him being like, I love that song Crazy in the House. Like, that's not a lyric at all.
Super fun dad thing that is said out loud.
I never got the song title right. Low by Flo Rida featuring T-Pain. That song still blows my mind to this day.
A fun moment for people our age was to have T-Pain do the Tiny Desk concert like a decade later and be like,
oh, yeah.
Y'all thought I couldn't sing? And he was just like, No, I'm gonna not only sing, but I'm gonna sing better than that song that you thought I was singing good on. I don't know. You brought like one keyboard and blew the freaking room away. They were like, "Oh, T-Pain can sing."
Oh, he rips. I don't like the man, but give me Gold Digger by Kanye West and Jamie Foxx.
You know, I was looking at the years 2007, 2008, just because those were like our middle high school years. It was his 808s and Heartbreak year. So I remember being at some house parties and it'd be like Love Lockdown would come on, and like people who weren't good at making party playlists like figured it was Kanye or whatever, but it's like the saddest like record ever. I don't know.
I could not name a second Kanye West song. This is the only one that I know.
Gold Digger is?
Yes, the only one.
You honestly couldn't? Because
I could not.
I still think the you not liking the Beatles thing is an act, and I am going to sit here for another 30 seconds and wait for you to try to come up with a second Kanye fucking West song.
Oh, This Is America is not Kanye West.
That's correct.
How many points is that worth?
How many points is it worth to name a Childish Gambino song that came out years after the era we're discussing? Zero fucking points, Tom. That's how many points it's worth. Because I think this is performance art, quite frankly.
The only thing I can even reference is that music video where he's in bed with like 90 people and he says, I still think Taylor and I might still have sex or something.
Okay. And you know this probably because of the Taylor part?
Yes, that's the only reason.
Name some other lyrics you remember, because there's a chance that the song could be named after the lyric you remember in your head.
I honestly have nothing.
Just name 5 words. Just say 5 words out loud. There's a chance you get one.
The thing that's in my head, which I know is not him, is wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
I'm starting to see, I still think you misunderstood what I was trying to do here, just like a discussion about music that might have been on the radio at the time. But now I can see where your reservations to talk about anything other than pop punk come in, because
I don't know anything.
Hearing you go from Gold Digger by Kanye to wiggle, just saying wiggle, wiggle, wiggle out loud into the microphone has also now made me anxious. So we're allowed to just move on from this if we want, quite frankly. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I thought it'd be a little more fun.
I honestly don't know another Kanye song, but I
Jesus
have
Walks?
in here. Huh?
Jesus Walks? You never heard the song Jesus Walks?
I probably heard it in church. I don't know a Kanye song called that.
There's a good chance you did not hear it in church. That's all I'll say about that. Anyway, sorry. This is an unfair game, and I'm sorry.
I was absolutely positive you would have this in your list, but "Shake It" by Metro Station was everywhere at that time.
Oh, dude! So if you get a glass and a half of wine into my wife, and I won't even and just play "Shake It" by Metro Station or any 303 song, she'll be like, "Oh, she'll go nuts. She'll lose it." Absolutely lose it. She's like, you know what? This song, I mean, it rocked, and I don't disagree. It bands that were super. What's the word I'm looking for, Tom? Kind of lame on the surface.
Sure.
It was Boys Like Girls and all them, like running away. You know, people were having their ringtones as that at baseball practice, and we were all kind of like, do we make fun of Kevin McQueenie for this, or you know? I don't know, but like we all kind of knew we wouldn't have changed the dial on the station in our cars if it came on while we were driving. So it's just like the scene from Tommy Boy or whatever. But girly's not the right word, but they were allowing themselves to feel their feelings, definitely. But also, Shake It. I don't know, bop or not. Should we do a segment, bop or not bop?
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Okay, Metro Station, Shake It, bop or not bop?
Bop.
All right. This has been Bop or Not Bop with Tom and Pat on the Reminiscent Podcast.
And then the last one that I have here, I don't think is super fitting, but I know there was at least one club remix we've heard at a high school dance, Mr. Brightside by the Killers.
Yeah.
Had to have made it into one of those dances. You
know, Abby, the only reason I kind of thought of this is because Abby texted me the day of legitimately like, hey, so what's the music situation? Like she wanted to craft this playlist. And I think hers would have been a lot cooler than ours would have been for obvious reasons, because she's just has a deeper knowledge of what people would probably like to dance to. When we'd be like, what? We played Shake It. You're Shake It to Shake It. That's, we just got pissed at everybody right away. Like, what do you mean talk money? Jesus walks. I don't know. Okay. So I think that brings us kind of to the end of the episode. My song of the week might be The Way I Are, just because I want you to listen to Timbaland.
Okay.
I want that for you. My favorite thing is Rivers Cuomo going after Timbaland on the Red album a little bit. It's probably the dumbest. The 2000s were, well, and it's still been a little rough for Weezer, even though the White Album, I think, is actually legitimately fine. But yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, I was pretty vacant from the top 40, especially during those years. So that one was difficult, to say the least. But anyways, recap, reunion weekend was cool. Pat got a miracle foul ball, which I'm still... Can we talk about that real quick, actually?
Yeah, Abby and them were laughing at me so hard because Aaron stuck so true to wanting to with me that he got me to believe it.
Did he do it?
Oh, yeah. Hands down. He was messing with
Did he admit
everybody.
to it?
Yes, yeah.
He did.
But not until the end of the weekend. For like 2 full days, he just stuck true to it because he's a prankster. And I actually felt actual anger toward him for like 4 full days after I got home, but then I realized he was just having a good time. So, and I should lighten up, Francis. You know what I'm saying?
Let's tell the story. We were sitting in the beer garden, which was just 4 metal tables on the side of the ball
there's like
field.
a part of Jarriett Park, or I guess it's UPMC Healthcare Park, which I guess they're expanding wildly past the Pittsburgh city limits at this point if they have a ballpark in Erie named after them. But yeah, we're sitting out where I used to work, which is down the first base line. And it was a good, almost 10 of us. You know, we were planning to have like a little time to meet with people you might have wanted to see the day before the reunion in case nobody could make it Saturday. And like you said, or my dad was saying when he went to Vincent's reunions, some people only go to the Friday stuff because they don't really like being in crowds. So sometimes you plan a Friday thing for the people that maybe want it. And again, it was just the people that would have gone on Saturday anyway at the end of the day. But anyway, we were sitting there at the baseball game and we were having a beer, some Yinglings, of course, I guess, right? Pennsylvania, am I right? Or some Labatt's, some Canadian vibes for our actually predominantly Canadian fan base of this show, actually. So, no,
someone get this fucking guy a poppers.
Sorry, yeah. Figured out. I was telling everybody how I never caught a foul ball, and we got really close. There was a couple of fouls that like kind of came in our, down that way, down the first base line.
If you ran a little faster, you would have got that one.
Yeah, but you'd never want to like outrun a kid, because that'll be viral. Everything's on film nowadays, and there's definitely the easiest way to become an asshole instantly to thousands of strangers is to be in a video where you deny a child a chance at a foul ball. So you just don't do that. If it falls in your lap, you catch it and then give it to a child near you. You never keep it anyway. There's like an etiquette to it. But like if you reach a certain age, there's no good look of keeping it unless you're in such a crowd and it's in your lap and you just get to high five your buddy. But if there's a child immediately in vicinity who was trying it all to get it, it's theirs. Anyway, so we were leaving and a ball comes rolling at my feet.
When we were like a block away from the ball field.
Right. And I was like, not like this. And I turned around and I bounced it and kind of threw it.
Which I have on camera.
Oh, you have it?
In slow motion, yep.
But just, like, not like this, you bastards. And then Aaron kind of stuck to it. And I should have stuck to my guns in the first place. Like, there's no way a foul ball would have rolled like that at that trajectory. But Aaron was like, dude, no, what did you think that was? And for like a full 2 days, tried to convince me and us that it was like the miracle foul ball, like the first time, but he had just found it on the street or something and rolled it at my feet that and then later at Jacob's, I was talking to Abby and Doug and all them. They were like, Aaron's with you. It's definitely not real, because he got me to think it was real for like all of Saturday morning. So.
I thought it was real.
Yeah. That's so me too. I was like, I'm going to strangle Aaron to death, I think. So like, I'm willing to go to jail and ruin my life to just get back at Aaron with violence for messing with me about the baseball.
But also, I mean, if he found the ball on the street, it would have been a foul ball, right?
Yeah, at some point hidden on the game. I don't know if it was hidden under a tire or somehow somebody had not gotten it. But I got so irrationally angry.
It was a foul ball. It just didn't happen at that exact second and hit your foot like he led you to believe it did.
Right. But it was funny. It was a good prank. But I felt like a child because we were like, you kind of regress into like, I definitely got high school mad. I haven't been high school mad in a while. I was like, Aaron, you fucking asshole, man. Cooled off pretty instantaneously, but I was so embarrassed. I'm a small
Did you
man,
keep
Tom.
it?
No, I don't know where it is.
Oh, what the dude? Because you threw it at Zach, which I have on camera, and then Zach gave it to me, and then you were like, "Oh, I wish I had it."
It was
And I
back
like,
in
"Oh."
my hands at Jacob's the next night somehow. But
Yeah,
I
gave because I threw it across the table at you after pretending that I threw it away,
Oh, okay.
making you believe that it came back to you again.
A few beers deep, I was trying to explain to Abby's boyfriend, who was so nice to just put up with all of us, me specifically. But I was like, if you ever have a kid, this is how he throws the changeup. Don't throw curveballs. I would just like throw it, showing him like ways to hold a baseball when you pitch it. And he was just like, cool, man. That's cool, man.
It
just
was for like a while. I was
too
totally
long.
engrossed.
It was
in
way
it,
too
though.
long. Yeah. So
I had never heard of the 3-seam pitch or whatever you're talking about.
Right. Which again, apparently I was not coming close because neither of you, you both have tried to relay back to me what I thought I was saying. So, and none of it was probably all garbage language. So anyway, apologies to everyone for everything as always. I think that's how we end every show, right?
Sure.
We work ourselves into a situation where we feel like, how does anyone ever like us or want to listen to us? So that's where we're at. Thanks for joining us. We found our way back home, folks, after all that.
Want to give a song of the week?
Oh, after you.
John.
I think I've recommended it before by proxy, but the song Eternal Youth by Rude is a really cool, like, Japanese-inspired lo-fi chill hop kind of song. And I wish they quantized it a little more so it was a little more on beat, but it is my mood. And I'm starting to find some channels that do more, like, Asian-inspired chill hop and using traditional Asian, like Japanese instruments, and I am going hard down that rabbit hole, so expect more of that in the future.
You've had a lot of the lo-fi, goofy, not goofy, but I mean, you played a little bit on the drive home. You've been saying it for weeks, and I guess I hear it every week, but you are living in that world right now, it seems like.
Yeah, vaporwave or synthwave, that kind of stuff is taking me away right now, so I'm into it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, Bruce Springsteen came out with a new album, and
Really?
yeah, he did. It's called Western Stars, I believe, and I guess the first track, Hitchhikin, is the only one I've really got around to listening to, but one of those recommendations where I don't know if I recommend it yet, but I'll be listening to it this week, so to try to figure it out.
Figured it. All right. Well, that's it.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're getting back into the vibe. It's been almost a month since we've recorded like a sit-down episode like this. We batched a few to get ourselves prepared for the week off, and then we did one on the road. So it feels like I feel very out of practice, but we'll get back into it next week. We can't guarantee sound quality because you will be in an Airbnb. But that's how the show started, with me in an Airbnb.
Can't guarantee it on a week-to-week basis because I'm in an empty room right now that is not padded at all. Like it's going to be bad. And I tried to be funny and scream into the mic earlier, so we had to restart the computer because the mic auto-adjusted to how loud my voice was into it.
And it would not go back.
It wouldn't. So this is all an extra. Tom is like, it's really fun, and I'm like, is it? I make it pretty hard for you to like deal with pretty basic audio stuff on a week-to-week basis. So thanks for your patience on that one. But yeah, the high school reunion, it had it all. Some fun, old friends, old jokes, old music, feeling very self-conscious about most things, and a really long walk through Erie in the rain that made my mom upset. So that about crosses off all the boxes, and Tom would know all about all of that. So,
Yep. Well, all right, man.
All right. You gonna be all right?
Oh, I'll be great, man. I'll be fucking...
We're going to
good.
text a ton today because I'm also alone in the house after this Goodwill run. I'm going to treat myself to watching a Cleveland Indians game on the television.
Hey, very nice.
Yeah. Something you and I both have gone back years enjoying together.
Yeah, dude. Take me out to the ball game.
I'm just with you. This is getting too long. You have to edit this, and I'm just adding this to your already busy week. So I love you, man. Talk to you later.
Love you too, dude. See ya. All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. As always, tweet at the show at _reminiscentFM and let us know what songs would be in your 10-year high school reunion anniversary Alta Mega playlist. Tweet at us in general. We're super freaking lonely. Please reach out. We need you. We love you all. Talk to you next week. Bye.